All right. So Dante is having a drink over there, and he's a very noisy water drinker. Like, I guess I hadn't noticed how noisy he is. So here we are. Okay. Good morning, beloveds. We're doing a new design for living. We are finishing up chapter 19. Let's do the housekeeping really quick. And all that is me reminding you that we are Creative Life Spiritual Center. Website is creativelife.org. Constant contact, email, info@creativelife.org. It's one email a week. Tells you what's going on for the week and the month. And the hot links are hot. So if it says click here now, it means it. It'll take you right to the information of the person that can help you get it. It is also a blind CC. That means nobody's going to see your email. You won't end up on anybody else's email list because of us. All right. Social media. I only mention it because we do not monetize it. We don't want to deal with the ads any more than you do. So, one of the ways, it's a free and easy way that you can support the center. Go like, subscribe, follow based on which platform you are on, and then engage with the individual posts by reacting to the post, commenting on the post, sharing the post. It bumps us in the algorithms and more people see our stuff. So that is, as I said, free and easy way that you can support the center. And we are Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark, or I am the Running Rev Ryan across all of the social medias that I am on. So, there is that. Okay, now, A New Design for Living is one of the last books that Ernest himself worked on before he made his transition. He worked on it with Willis Kinnear, and this is what I like to call is the process of science of mind. Basically, he goes through it. He says, okay, here's what this is, why this works, how this works, or rather, what this is, why it, how it works, and why it's important. And they have been short, they have been pithy, they've been wonderful. I've really enjoyed this. We are almost done, which means I have to pick a new one. So we're going to go from there. Not all of his books are short, with, short pithy articles. So decisions will be made. So, yeah. But we are going to finish up. We're currently in chapter 19, and we are going to finish up chapter 19, which is the larger life. And it's a fairly short article, but his wrap-ups are kind of interesting. So it's, because we've got the task ahead, and then we've got his little wrap-up poem. So, yeah. All right. So, the task ahead. We should always recognize the significance of facts. But we should also know that facts may well be interpreted in a new light, and that law and order we think of in the physical world should be extended to include the mental and spiritual. This would mean a larger inclusion, and with it a larger synthesis. To the matter of fact person who bases everything on objective evidence, this might seem unwise and unwarranted. On the other hand, we must also realize that to those who have had the deeper experience that we look for guidance. Okay. I feel like there's an article missing in that sentence. They are the ones who have really written the pages of human history and growth. They are the ones who have entered into a deeper communion with reality, to whom the invisible has been more real. Yes, it is to those that we are most indebted. We should always seek to align ourselves in thought and act with those who sought behind the fact to the creator of facts, the coordinator of all laws, and the presence that is diffused in everyone. I think that's one of those things that it's like, okay, yeah, there are facts, but as he just said, we want to look beyond the facts. It's one of the reasons why we have the phrase principle is not bound by precedent. Because just because these are the facts doesn't mean that they have to stay that way. And I do appreciate that he says we can interpret them in a different light, because facts are facts, but it does matter how context does matter. So just because it's always been this way doesn't mean it has to stay that way. Just because we've always done it that way doesn't mean that we have to continue to do it that way. And that's one of those things where these people who have come before us, and reached behind the facts and reached into the unseen, and had that deeper experience. Those are the people we want to look to. One of the things that it does drive me crazy, and I call it show me a potsherd. And it's an archaeology thing. And it's one of those things where somebody brings something to the table that is completely different. It's not anything that we thought about before. And immediately the colleagues naysay this person by saying, show me a potsherd. In other words, bring me evidence. But the problem is especially if you're dealing with societies before they started making pottery, okay, we can't bring you the evidence that you are asking for because it doesn't exist. Yet, we're not just going on vibes and feelings here. We have evidence, but we don't have the evidence that satisfies you. And that's where and that's what we're dealing with here. It's okay, I have evidence. I've got the manifestations in my life. I just can't show you my work because all of that work happened in the unseen. And this is where we are. So, for those who have reached behind the facts to the creator of facts, we truly are indebted. And that is what we have to do if we want to live that larger life. We have to be willing to reach into the unseen and to trust in the unseen. Because everything we've ever wanted has come out of the unseen, as Jesse is fond of saying. All right, let's see what his wrap-up is. Your greatest potential, Godward. What does it hold? The greatest good you can conceive that harms no one. How do you come to possess it? Thought by thought. Why is it possible for us to create a new life for ourselves? Because we are part of life. We not separate from it or its creativity. It's one of those things where both Emma and Ernest have said, there's power in the universe and you can use it. Or I think Ernest says you can use it and Emma says you ought to have it, or maybe it's the other way around. But that's just it. You are living the life. You are living in that creativity. Why not use that creativity? Because it's part of who you are. If you want to create a new life, you absolutely can do that. And it's one of those things that you always want to remember. You are divinely sourced. Okay? Yeah, I know. We have to deal with the material. But in the end, you are divinely sourced. So, all right. There's that. I don't know what that was. So, all right, beloveds. So I'm going to move on to the process of my day. Tomorrow, we will start with the new chapter, which is using what you know. And I'm going to go back to, in that line, he says, the greatest good that you can conceive that harms no one. Okay? If you want to know if it's ego or spirit, that's one of the tests. Who does it help and who does it harm? If it only helps one person and doesn't harm anybody, it can still be spirit. If it helps a whole lot of people but harms people, it might be ego. It's probably ego. Because in the end, spirit does not cause harm. What people do with it, that's a different story. But that's a quick way to check if it's ego or spirit. Who does it help? Who does it hurt? If it hurts anybody, it's not spirit. If it only helps one person but doesn't hurt anybody, you're probably on pretty safe ground there. So, harm no one. All right, beloveds, as I said, moving on into the process of my day, I'm going to encourage you to have a great day, wondrous day, fantastic day, magical day, an enchanted day, a wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day. I know, it's Monday. I got all that energy. I enjoy Mondays. There's very little I dislike about Mondays. Now, it might have to do with the fact that I get up at 6 o'clock on Sundays and 6:30 on Mondays, so, I don't sleep in on Sundays. So, I don't have that fight about Mondays, and I enjoy my coworkers on Mondays. So, there is that. So, as I said, have an amazing day. Drink plenty of water day, a go for a walk day, a cuddle your fur babies day, the weather's heating back up day, a do what you gotta do day, a let's get this week started off right day, a taking care of business day, a May the 4th be with you day. It's Star Wars day. Yes, I'm a nerd. And proud of it. I'm also a geek, and what's the third? I don't think I qualify as a dork. There's something, but I'm definitely a nerd and a geek. So, yay. Know who you are day. Go look in the mirror and see the divine looking back at you day. I think I may be running out of words day. Make sure you make time to sit down and rest day. A good day. And if that is too much pressure, occasionally it is, simply have a day. You are enough. Just as you are. You are a beloved expression of the divine. You are a brilliant light, divine spark, spirit in motion, God in action, an absolutely beautiful masterpiece, and a work in progress at the same time, at your own pace. It's my favorite part of that sentence. And, as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you are a godling. Explore the truth of your being. Get to know who the divine knows you to be, because the divine knows you to be good. And from there, anything is possible. Anything at all is possible. All right, beloveds. I'm going to move on into the process of my day, as I have said, I think, like 3 times. But, did I say that the divine only knows, the divine knows you to be good because that's all the divine knows? Okay. Anything is possible. All right. Reverend David should be on sometime this afternoon with you. I will be back with you around 9-ish tomorrow.